Fantasy World map. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is gonna be the top part. It's very tiny, and I'll have it go like that. Do that, maybe a little bay, and a little area like that. And then don't forget about a little Edie Peninsula.
So I will help you out. Make sure that
So there's gonna be a tiny little, maybe I'll call that a bay.
That's just a theory. Okay.
Or a river.
Let me see.
So then there's a little dip like that, and then there's gonna be something like that. This is gonna be a big continent. It's gonna do that and that. I have like something like that. This entire area may become a peninsula. So it's gonna dip in. Not that much. Gonna dip in maybe close to about that much. Yeah. I'm gonna have it look like maybe the sea was once not here. And then we're gonna have this. Have a big dip in like that. Like that. Nope, I'm not done. I'm gonna go like that. This is gonna be a very peninsular continent.
Wow. He's new to this. Why are you not so
Don't forget about this.
I'll get it, Chloe.
We also have to have this. Like, that's a really nice continent there. And don't forget to have that. This would I say be a pretty weirdish. So with it starting to dip out again, and then start to go a bit in, and have a bit of a, I'd say, piece of something here. So that's gonna be one continent, but no continent is complete without a couple islands. No. We're gonna be maybe an island. So this happens causing an island. So we have part of our world have an island. You better have this because this island connected. So there. That's one continent about done. But I'm just gonna have a big island. Broke away, and as that continent got bigger, it got trapped. So that's the story. This is gonna be a weird island. Look at that island. And don't forget about another island. And an island up here. Yeah, so that's one continent. There's a sea here. I'm just maybe gonna add an island that formed by a volcanic eruption. Just very weird. There. You know what? No. So I'm gonna go to the middle. And just, well, do that. And that's all the connection that this part of the continent has. And then it'll dip in. Like real far. Just gonna do that. And then there's just gonna be a giant coast. This goes like once going here. Which would mean, and this wouldn't be connected. So this is the coast.
You heard me?
At least this part of the coast.
Hello?
So that one goes against this one. Goes straight down, practically, and then you just make a bit of a dip in. Like that. And this happens, this happens. Don't forget about this part of the continent. This is gonna be the greatest continent. Or maybe. Maybe this will be the second biggest. But this probably may have the most nations, like Asia has the most nations. Wait, how about this one connects to another continent down here? Yeah, that's a pretty good idea to me. And then we're gonna have it all start going in. Just go like that. Have it not connect yet. And this starts to go to an entirely different continent.
Get down!
And this happens. That part. You see, this is called something called a land bridge. So it gets big, it gets small.
Where's your fucking water at? Jesus Christ, Tiffany, calm your ass down.
I'll just do that. And do that, and do that. Make sure this continent. So we have two areas, and then like a Central America sort of thing. That's the reference, yeah. So I'm gonna specifically have a good bit of blue globe. Like that. Nope. Like that. That too.
Dude, I thought I was gonna have a heat for today. That's what I thought.
Do that.
Yeah, Will. I get a stop in the morning anyway. I like the big ones.
And
Oh shit. I started my period, and I swear to God, I know you don't want to hear about it. People talk about it every night.
and make sure like
I had never in my life freaking two Super Plus campaigns within an hour.
okay for that. And I don't want it to be mostly filled. So I'd say that's a good area, but I think I'm gonna have maybe like an islandish continent down here. Just a big island, practically. A big island. Not that small. Maybe like that big. Just have it go maybe like that. Nope, that does not look natural. And then and that. This. And this. I think this will be a good final continent. Okay, so ocean up here, ocean here, sea, or maybe a small ocean that goes through here. And maybe a sea here and here. Okay. this entire area. So this is a good place to start my civilization. So this time, F8. Red, blue. So, with this happening, oh yeah. And this is the start of civilization. By that I mean not the tribal ages, just the start of an actual society. But with this society growing rather quickly, eventually taking this entire peninsula. Tiny peninsula, I should say. And then they start to send out kind of explorer groups. That's what it looks like. And this starts to happen rather quickly. And then they start to try to go over here. After secretly a new explorer group noticed that this area was way better than this area. What we're seeing here is called human curiosity-ish. Seeing if what people say are correct. But with them taking all this now, that's a gigantic. And with naval technology not being too advanced, being able to barely get to this. And starting to do this. And then go. Oof, that's a big nation. With a great expansion beginning, with most of the population moving over here as it's way more fertile and suitable for living other than this area. this humanity society starts getting a bit bigger and start to invest a lot in their not military, but their exploration groups. And then another society starts to appear. Surprise. And it starts appearing. This one, instead of going in, it only goes on the coast. Like, only on the coast. And a bit farther in the coast. And then it starts to get a bit bigger over here. Just because I said so. Because I made a mistake. And oh yeah. And this little humanity does that. And then, so now they could kind of go from like local travel, like from here to here now, quickly, and from here to here a bit worse than from here to here. But they have not even discovered these guys. Not the exact as far as they know, they're the only people in this world. With them settling about here because it's also a bit fertile, and them start to go in. A bit until they connect with their other part. And then they explore all this. And now we're kind of seeing something called a rivalry, as they know that each other exists. So this one sends out a scout group, and this area is really, really fertile. This one is closer, but this one is faster. Closer or faster? After a bit of racing, they eventually both get to the area, but the red team eventually comes first. So as the blue team came, the red team managed to take that all and started to expand, make it look better. And then the blue team started to take a lot. And what we're seeing here still is a rivalry, but not a war. These both are like scout team placed. Both are kind of scout teams, and this one and the red team is trying to cut off the blue team. This bit of a rivalry, trying to cut it off. And they almost succeed. They forgot about this part. So the blue team starts to kind of cut them off with this rivalry. But the red team does this and starts to take a bit of land. And with all they know exists, with the red team knowing that this area exists, now where the blue team came from. This is what they know of the red team. knows exists. This is what the blue team knows exists. They know all this area exists. Team knows all this area exists. That's so if you combine both these lines, they know about this entire continent except some small pockets here, 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 and that's all. Let me just do that, and the rivalry continues. The red team fills this and not the entire continent. Yeah, not this entire continent. Not without the blue team coming. Not as them somehow going around each area. Oh, the red team encircled this area. But the blue team is able to send all their troops, aka their scouts, over here. Filling in their borders a bit better. But the red team also kind of does that, sends some of the scouts over here, but not all of them, and fills in their borders. And what we see here is a battle with them just running into each other and fighting them. The red team takes this area, the blue team takes this area, the red team takes this area, cuts them off, takes all this area. Eventually they agree to go to peace on one condition. The red team says the red team gets this area and the blue team cannot go past the red team. So the red team makes sure to build a giant wall, the greatest wall. They cannot go past this area. And the blue team can go up, down, and eventually, after a couple more decades, it looks something like this. Originally, I'm not going up yet, but with them going question, these look like some good borders. Knowing all this area exists together. They know all this area exists. As far as they know, they're on a big island, a giant island. This area compared to the world map. So with them redrawing these borders, the blue team gets this in exchange for the red team gets this. And the blue team gets this and this in exchange for the red team getting this. Okay, those are some better borders. Okay, voyages. And scout team. So, voyages of the red team are led, but they know that they may go over here. So they get ready. As instead of going on this voyage, they go over here and begin their conquest. Starting to go farther in, as this area is not actually too fertile, but land is land. With them starting to advance, learning fire, learning continents, kind of starting to build areas. And naval technology has got surprisingly better. And weapons. They used to just only have a fist. But now they kind of have, like, rocks to throw at each other. They purely throw rocks now. As it's a good area of resources. And still making them feel really bad. And eventually, after a couple years, after a giant skip, the world looks something like this. This is the start of the ocean, and this is the start of the ocean. And after some more filling in, the red team starts to have the breakaways going everywhere. And, but I'm not, I don't want only 2 countries for now, and then I'll make some rebels. For now, at least. And with them trying to cut off the blue team, managing to break free, fully cuts them off. Red team starts to cut. But then the blue team conquest, cut off red team blue. Eventually, this is looking something like this. Now, cut off from this continent. Just investing. Eventually, we can start some stuff for expansion. And eventually, they got half the continent. Because something is happening. An invasion of the mainland. That's what's happening.
Actually, we have
Red team now, but then starting to go north. We start to go south. Beginning its conquest. I'm sending troops from down here all the way up here, but I'm having troops on this front line. But starting to take over areas of that. And this great battle. Eventually takes this entire area and makes a gigantic naval. But not before the blue team can react. They are kicked out of this continent, and the Red Empire, the first nation to exist, gets a new naval. Ping and ping. That's about all they can do. Not expecting any people to go over here. And they kill troops from behind. Ooh, killed. This may be in like a 50-minute video, which I do not care. Because this is supposed to be only practically for fun. And the blue team surrenders. What we're seeing here is human intimidation. The treaty being about the blue team still gets to keep its eastern side. The red team takes everything else. Blue team also gets a tiny colony in Africa. What's to get? They get this area. So with them beginning, with the Red Empire beginning its great expansion, starting to expand. They fund, I don't know what the currency would, instead of not doing anything, instead they kind of fund a bit of rebels near them. These areas are fully integrated into the Red Empire, so they kind of just break away. But other areas that were stimulated and became part, and the Red Team also funded rebels, so this area, and then this area. But this got rebel. And this. But then okay. So this is what the world looks like now. And eventually, the Red Team eventually takes over the entire continent. Except the tiny area that the Blue Team got. The Great Red Empire starts to collapse as a big revolt begins. The Blue Team kind of just chills, investing in everything. But eventually, a tiny little green team pops up. Which is saying not having too much people because up here is the focus. So eventually they look something like this. Ow! So now we have 3 nations. But also a rebellion in the nation. Yeah, I'll just call it the nation. So thus, and I'll have it be down here. And just a teal blue. I'm gonna have it be a kind of red-ish color. Like a pinkish color. This is what's happening. And something internal is happening within the Blue Team. An area breaks away in hopes of expansion. And with this area starting to expand rapidly to the Blue Team. Eventually, after years, it looks something like this. Oof. But the Blue Team doesn't care. The Blue Team and the Tealish Team signs like a treaty thing. Something like a treaty. stating that the blue teal team won't take any more after this. There. That. Ow! But the blue team has 1, 2, 3 nations aboard. The red team has 1, 2 nations as plural. And then the red team sends out an expedition. But this ain't the red team. This is somebody else's. But I'll just get the color picker. F8. Pick this color. I'll have it. I'll pick. Maybe something like that. So now we have 2 nations. That's all. Wait, no, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 nations now. But a secret voyage. As the blue team, the red team.
Ow!
Then don't hit me.
Then why did you hit me?
I did it on force. And it'll have part of it.
Hit
You hit me first. So it'll be an orange team. I'm doing this. And I'll prepare for the next color. What did an entire accident part of it.
Ow.
It's a bit later. Yeah, those are this. Okay, that's.
And then you punched me after I let go.
Actually, when they get noticed, they have something by the they have something like this. Oh, because they were an entirely different continent. Like they could take this entire continent, but they didn't. And eventually, the teal team broke the treaty.
Let me see.
Boom.
I'm just trying to see what you're watching.
Boom. Yeah, the teal team broke the treaty. Yeah. But the blue team did not expect that. And eventually, when the teal team wants to have all this. This capital. Okay, the biggest city being about right here. They accept that no more war. And then something internal happens in the teal team. A new team. New nation forms. Actually, no, 2 new nations. Wait. I need to do that. And, ow! I'll say. As eventually, it gets all the way down here. And a treaty is made. No more war active. Not for now, at least. Of course, they come from their ancestors, the red team. When the origin map, would be something like this. Part of that. And then there be the reds, which would and see the red have lost a good bit of, and these people were part of the red team. They didn't rebel, these were just part of the red team. That wasn't mean, they just that. Yeah. So you could see the orange team and the pink team came part of the red team. So I'm go like this, and eventually the orange team gets the whole continent. Before any other nations start to intervene. What we see here is practically continent, and an entire continent for a nation. But this nation crashed with a red empire.
Sorry, dog.
Okay.
I was hungry.
So the red team is going to start something called a war against the orange team. Wait, no, the red team is the offenders, so they have to be on the top. Oh yeah, the red team gets all this before the orange team notices a thing. And then the orange team notices it. Because of how long it took for them to notice. Even just a bit. But the red team now also comes back. The old empire, or should I say the red empire, eventually they surrender, hoping not to lose too much land. And oh boy, they lose a good bit of land, but not too much. They lose, not a big deal. They lose all this. But luckily their capital is right here. Right up. Yeah, it's right here. Our red team expands through 1, 2, 3 entire different continents. This continent is kind of just forgotten, sadly. So I'll just start another and say more people from all these nations come down here, making the formation. Making the formation of the dark green team. So this will be about all for this video. GeoGuy out. Peace.